you guys are too slow to even be out here. I had a buddy of mine, his dad was the president and COO at Aaron's, Ken Butler. Great people in the Atlanta area. I had grown up and gone to church, high school, middle school. They were the weird guys in this world that like everybody played baseball or football or tennis, and like these guys did all those things, but they would go racing on the weekends. When commercial construction eventually tried to starve me to death, they approached me with the opportunity, why don't you come help Ken, do some marketing for him? You're a smart guy, you write well, you've got good ideas, and let's go hunt for sponsorships down the road. And so I literally was drug across hell's half acre for a whole year. I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment that we couldn't have been paying $800 for. I would drive to Peachtree DeKalb Airport. I would get on the private jet and go wherever the NASCAR race was and stay in really nice hotels. And I'd come back and my car would be all gassed up and washed, and it was just, and then I would drive my little carriage would turn back into a pumpkin when I went to my apartment. So like, how does it all change this fast? We were in Kentucky, which now they have a cup race there, and so it's bigger. But at the time, it was the last year they had a nationwide series race only, which is now the Xfinity Series. Our team was really, it was marginally competitive. And so if there are 42 cars on the track, you could just take to the bank that we would finish 25th. And it's not a way anybody's going to get rich or get noticed. But we had a great time. And one of the things that I remember clear as day was that Ken had cut a tire. We were running insanely well, like top 10. It rarely happened outside of restrictor plate races where we would be doing that well. It's literally like, if it wasn't for bad luck, there would be no luck at all. And I'm listening to him sitting in the chair a couple rows behind, and I was the sign guy. You looked for the number, or in our case it was 23, and he would pull into the pit stall and he would hit the sign, and I would go put the sign back, and the front tire guy, he would pull the front tire off. I would roll him, I would give him a new one, and he would roll me. And these tires are literally like 1,000 degrees. They're smoking hot. And so you have mechanics wear gloves on, but it's still, I mean, it's uncomfortable. If you're not, especially if you're not used to it. Ken starts coming down pit road, and I don't know what I was doing. I was just literally sitting in a chair. This is on ESPN. Like, all our friends always watch these races because nobody knows a NASCAR driver. And he's driving down pit road by himself, and for whatever reason, I'm just not in the chair. And he's like, where the hell is my sign guy? And so I'm literally like accountable, because there's like the difference between 9th and 10th. I mean, you get to a place where it's like sums of thousands of dollars that you're sitting there, and he's riding down by himself, and he's on the radio just blistering me. And he gets in the pit stall, and I'm just like, the crew chief is just giving it to me. I didn't move from the chair. I don't know what happened. So there's a tire that's wandering around out there. I just literally it's the whole thing. You had one job. I had one job, and I was the sign guy. I'd put the sign down, and then they would roll a tire to me. And so there's a tire hanging out in the middle of the thing. There's nobody to make sure he gets to the thing. And there's literally a team of 10 people that are just looking at me sitting in this chair. And I'm like, I just don't know what happened. It was just epic breakdown. But another one of the best stories that I have from NASCAR was we were at Watkins Glen. And road course racing is something that NASCAR guys, there's a handful of them that are really good at it. Marcos Ambrose, who's Australian, used to be incredible. Wheelmen like Kyle Busch is really good. Jimmy Johnson could drive a freaking washing machine across the finish line. Dale Jr.'s pretty good. The guys in this world that are really good road course racers in NASCAR are literally like, there's a dozen. And everybody else is just hoping that they can do it. And those guys I mentioned, I truly feel like could drive anything at any level. They're just, when you learn about NASCAR and how good those guys are at what they do, like, so much more than just left turns. It's half wizardry and half physics. You know, they take incredible care of their bodies. They take incredible care of their teams. Well, we weren't those guys. At Watkins Glen, you have to have several spotters. Well, in most NASCAR races, you have one and you maybe have two. And so we're just a little dinky Nationwide Series team. And they're like, Burnett, we think you're going to have to potentially get in one of the corners. I was like, I've listened to them for years being like, 3 back, 2 back, 1 back, he's on your bumper, clear. And it's like, but you can't trust me to be the guy who can get the sign out, let alone be the guy to be like, he's not on your bumper anymore. And Ken's gonna hate me. I love you, dude. He's in my wedding, just a wonderful guy. Ken struggled at road course racing as bad as anyone has maybe ever struggled, to the point that it is almost impossible to get black flagged in NASCAR for being too slow. And the guys in practice were like, dude, if you can't like increase your speed by another 1.5 seconds, it's like you're not racing next to people all the time in road course races. Sometimes you are, but sometimes you're not. And it was just like watching somebody that I knew was better than all but 100 people in this world struggle with it gave me a tremendous amount of respect for it. And so we're literally sitting there that night talking about like, what are we gonna do? Because like you just, like everybody, when you issue a press release to somebody in NASCAR, it's like, Ken wasn't feeling well, or, you know, we just decided to make a change that would better suit the new needs of the team. I've never felt worse for anybody because we wanted to be so good, so bad, and literally you take the private plane up to, you know, right outside Cornell in upstate New York. It's beautiful. And you land and you always stay at nice hotels and the accommodations are great. And you get there and they're like, the NASCAR official comes over and it's like, you guys are too slow to even be out here. And so I was literally, we found one of the guys who runs a driving school out in California. His name's Chris Cook at Sears Point. Hey, Chris. Was really helpful, but sure, we did really well a lot of the time. But the best stories we have are like, guys, you're too slow to even get on the racetrack.